Hey everyone, welcome to the channel. Now, I don't know how many of you have seen the movie Odyssey. It's an old movie in the 90s that was done by a few people. Armand Assant, I think that's his name. And when I watched this movie as a young kid, it was on like a video disc. And as we were watching the movie, very good story, we didn't have the complete movie. So where the disc ended was where it actually stopped. So I remember a cousin of mine walking around the streets of Lagos, Nigeria, looking for the completed version of this movie. We literally had to wait about a week or 2 weeks to actually get the rest of the movie on VHS. That is how we completed this movie. And I think 2002, 2003 was the first time I actually laid eyes on this film. So for 2 weeks, we were left with a huge cliffhanger for such a good movie. And ladies and gentlemen, I just wanted to say that Ubisoft in their Assassin's Creed Odyssey is actually meeting the expectations, actually exceeding them when it comes to post-launch content. They are about to probably be one of the masters at it. Now, yes, we know Ubisoft has some sketchy practices in this Assassin's Creed Odyssey game. They put these XP boosters and crap, which genuinely I didn't think they needed. They should have just left the game the way it was and remolded a good reputation, but I guess they couldn't help themselves. They wanted to upsell, their community, and many of us aren't gonna buy that crap. What are you talking about? Give you guys more money for what? We already paid 60 or 50 bucks for the game, whatever it is that you paid, and I think that's enough. If you think your game is worth more, I would argue that as a gaming developing company, charge more for your game. But don't go sell something very expensive when it's not good. Apparently, Assassin's Creed Odyssey is a good game, solid game, story is good, gameplay mechanics are good, and they have added a whole lot of stuff. Now, you wonder, why did I bring up the Odyssey reference? I'm glad you asked. There is a huge Cyclops that's coming here. It's so funny because if you watch the movie Odyssey, there's a scene where a Cyclops traps Odysseus and his crew of sailors, and something happens and they're able to kind of escape, but before they escape, they get him in the eye, and he gets up and he starts to yell, my eye, brothers, nobody has blinded me," because Odysseus lies to him and says that his name is Nobody. And so it's been an inside joke between me and a lot of members of our team, where every day we just yell "my eye" or we just yell something silly. So whatever, inside joke. And that's why I brought this up, because I think they're going real hard with the whole Greek mythology. I think they want to own it. A lot of companies have probably stared away. Nobody wants to touch it. But I think Ubisoft doesn't really care to be reserved. I think they really want to go all out. And for most of us who've known Ubisoft's style and their business model, their business models have been lately, I think since The Division. I don't know if there's anything earlier. Maybe Rainbow Six Siege. That one is on a different category though. And I guess I'll comment on that here in a little bit. But I think from The Division, when they brought out that game, they launched the game in a very terrible state. I think they've sat down with their community and started to learn what community feedback and community interaction was going to look like with their company and their games. Each game being very unique. With The Division, they were able to at least liaise with the community, even though they weren't always successful in implementing different patches. I would say 70% of their patches that they dropped, they were very successful. And the post-content launch, I think 100% of that post-content launch was received well within the community. Some of them not great. It was received well, but didn't turn out great, but they made adjustments. I mean, until patch 1.8.3, where, it's just a mess. Let's comment on something else, and that's a whole different, story for another day. And then they moved on with Ghost Recon Wildlands, which when it was released, it didn't have a lot of acceptance. The gameplay mechanics felt kind of archaic, and so a lot of people did not necessarily play that game much long. But, I played it a little bit, but I wasn't really, in my opinion, I wasn't really enthralled by the way the mechanics were. I thought it was a third-person Far Cry game that, was just really awkward, just the way everything was. But it was an ambitious effort, a big open world with, you running around as mercenaries in Bolivia doing your thing. But one thing that Ubisoft did that really amazed me was, even after that game came out, they still supported that game. They created a community management, team around there that was actually speaking and liaising with the community of those people who still enjoyed the game, released a lot more extra content like the Predator stuff, and even made a PvP mode and have you know, and supported the game for as long as, I don't know if they're still supporting the game, but I remember that season they were supporting the game. I think Ubisoft plans to continue to do this with all its other titles henceforth. Now, I don't know if they did much with the Watch Dogs. I didn't necessarily follow that, but I think they're following that pattern here with Assassin's Creed. So companies like these are noticing the environment of many of these other gaming companies, AAA companies, releasing broken games, telling that they're hardcore PC fans, you mean your $2,000 rig boys, that they're going to release a mobile game, Mr. and Mrs. Activision Blizzard. I mean, and Ubisoft is seeing this opportunity, and they're just going in there to massage the heart of, you know, consumers and win a consumer base. Smart move from a business perspective. There's nothing better for a company to look and see a void where consumers want to understand that they're being valued and that what they pay money for is something of value, you know, and Ubisoft is meeting that need. So I am genuinely happy for Ubisoft here. They've been a great company. I've built most of my channel on, you know, on The Division, which is an Ubisoft game, because they actually do allow for you to be able to, you know, showcase their games, and that's how they want it. So I'm really excited for, you know, all the new content that's coming and has dropped. I can't say that Ubisoft is going to continue doing this, but I do see, or I do project that this is something that, you know, they will probably continue doing. I can't say for sure that, you know, it's what they're going to continue to do, but to me, it looks like this is going to be part of their business model for the long haul. Rainbow Six Siege is doing very well. They've taken that to competition mode. They've been able to add a lot more DLCs and the seasons. I think those things are thriving very well. You know, games as a service is going to be, you know, something that's a reality very soon. Many of these companies want to move into it, but at the same time, it's nice to have a mix of things like these and also, you know, the games as a service model. So I just hope they don't ever forget that this is at the core of gaming. This is at the core of actually making, you know, a lot of gamers happy and consumers happy on the long run. So high five to Ubisoft for doing such a wonderful job. You know, it's always easy to talk about controversy in the news cycle and in the opinion space, but I want to sometimes, you know, shed light on these very positive stories, because, you know, controversy sells news, you know, conflict sells news. Once in a while, a video like this, I don't even know how well it's going to do, but I don't want to just be only about controversy. I don't only want to be about conflict. I want us to be able to speak about changes as well. That's another thing that drives news. And so I'm really stoked. We'll be playing this on the channel, so make sure you check the playlist for the Assassin's Creed. Check it out also for Red Dead Redemption. Check it out for PES if you're a PES player. And if you like Call of Duty Zombies, we're also putting that on the channel. I appreciate you guys for your time and audience. Don't forget to subscribe, leave comments. Let me know how you guys feel. For those of you who may have beaten the game, I mean, you're probably excited about this. For those of you who are, you know, still playing the game, you're also probably excited about this, and I want to know about that in the comment section. Thank you for your time again, and audience, and I guess I'll see you in our next video.